This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now here are your hosts, Ray DeLesio and Kenny Bergamy.
Well, season's greetings and welcome to a special edition of the Farm Monitor. Special because today we are doing something we haven't done in over 2 years.
No, that's right. We're looking back at some of the highlights and fun times at the annual Georgia Farm Bureau Convention on Jekyll Island. Last year's gathering canceled due to the pandemic, but this year is back, and that made a lot of people happy. Coming up, Georgia Farm Bureau President Tom McCall on what it meant for the organization to have everyone together again, and the message he had for attendees. Also, her unique approach to teaching and the connection she has with her students. Earned Natalie Murray the 2021 Georgia Ag in the Classroom Teacher of the Year. Ray with a special feature on how Natalie promoted ag using the school garden, as well as the impact she made not only at the school, but throughout the local community. And then later, we'll dive into cotton talk and check in with a North Georgia producer to see how the current harvest is going. So much to cover today, and it all starts right now on the Farm Monitor.
In the words of Peaches and Herb, reunited and it feels so good. Yes, over 1,700 members representing Georgia Farm Bureau chapters in all 159 counties together again to hear leading experts and speakers discuss ag issues that affect us all. But really, let's be honest, this was a chance to see some old friends, maybe make some new ones, share some laughs, create some new memories, and just feel good about having some sense of normalcy again.
This is what Farm Bureau is all about, getting to be with people that are of the same interests of you and the same industries as you are, and getting to see some people that we hadn't seen in 2 years.
Getting back together for policy development and truly networking and making all of our ideas come together is really important, and I think that's the best part of being back.
I tell you, it's nice to walk in the doors and see so many people in person that are collaborating and working together for Farm Bureau. Thank you all for what you do. Thank you for allowing me to be with you today. And please don't hesitate to reach out if we can be of service. I look forward to visiting with you when this part of the session gets over with. God bless you all. Merry Christmas.
Meantime, in his first convention as Georgia Farm Bureau president, Tom McCall spoke of the many challenges GFB and its members faced the past 2 years, not only because of the pandemic or Mother Nature, but other factors the ag industry typically deals with year in and year out. Yet, in spite of those challenges, President McCall said he couldn't be prouder of how the organization responded, the way members stepped up, embraced the so-called new norm, and continued to share the story of America's farmers. President McCall saying it is time to reconnect and time to re-engage.
We must reconnect and re-engage with candidates before they are elected or re-elected. There are important elections on the horizon, and Farm Bureau members must be involved. It's imperative that we pull out all the stops to get our members involved and turn out at the polls. When the elections are upon us, all candidates, Democrats, Republicans, urban, rural, should have a strong understanding and appreciation of the importance of agriculture.
All right, much more from Jekyll Island in just a bit, but first, a look ahead to January and the GFB Young Farmers and Ranchers Competition winners who will represent the state of Georgia during the American Farm Bureau Convention, which will take place at the Georgia World Congress Center in downtown Atlanta. First up, the 2021 discussion meet winner, Cleve Jackson of Floyd County.
My name is Cleve Jackson. I live in Cave Spring, Georgia with my wife, Amelia. We live right on the Alabama line in the northwest part of the state, and together we, along with my father, own Jackson Farms. We raise beef cattle and with a focus on raising feeder calves that we sell about this time of year. And we really take pride in what we do, but it's really an honor to work in the agriculture industry each and every day. Agriculture is really important to us because it's the foundation of our way of life, right? And I think it just speaks to the importance, not only our operation, but every farmer in Georgia is just as dedicated as we are to caring for the land, whatever, or the crop or the cattle, like in our instance, the cattle that we produce. So agriculture is a way of life for me and my wife, Amelia, my parents, for them too, and my grandparents before them. So it's really all I've ever known, but it just got in my blood from early on and stayed in it, and so I couldn't help but love to be a part of our agricultural operation, and it's the land and the livestock that drives that passion for me. We really think it is very important to be involved in not only Farm Bureau, but specifically the Young Farmer and Rancher program, because of the opportunity it gives us to network with other young producers, but also to learn about the different aspects of farming that we either don't know yet, or more importantly, really, that the other people our age are going through, because we all are facing the same struggles of trying to buy equipment, trying to buy land, trying to buy cattle, and all those things are expensive, so we're trying to figure out the way to do that best. And it's really nice to be in a group of other people of similar ages that are facing the same struggle. We can kind of commiserate together, but we can also plan and figure out what to do next. So it's really important, I think, for us to be involved in the Young Farmer and Rancher program for that reason. The discussion meet, I think, is one of the most impactful events that we do as the Young Farmer and Rancher program, because I think it takes us into life really appropriately, right? I mean, it's supposed to mimic a board meeting where you discuss a problem and come up with a solution, and the reality is people our age are not tremendously involved in boards at this time, but this gives an avenue to kind of feel comfortable in that setting, develop that skill, and figure out how you can work together with other people to solve a problem. And I was really honored to get to win, because we had a really good group of competitors there in the last round, and I was fortunate enough to be selected. But again, the main thing for me in the discussion meet is to help train myself and the other competitors on being part of a board, which I think is really important for us as we continue to take leadership roles, not only in Farm Bureau, but hopefully in our communities as well.
When we come back, the amazing story of how this Douglas County music teacher inspired her students to embrace agriculture, and the unique ways in which they are using it both in and out of the classroom.
Since 2013, Stephen and Tara Green have been operating out of Spalding County and Green Gate Farm. They now farm 280 acres of land and have one daughter. Both Stephen and Tara come from farming backgrounds, and it's evident they value agriculture on both the state and local level.
I think for me, my passion comes from my grandparents, and especially now losing both of them. And this is kind of like, I feel like, a piece of them that I have left. So I always just want to better our farm, better ourselves, and our commitment to agriculture, and just continue to grow and expose more people to ag.
The Green family have deep roots planted in agriculture, as Tara's grandparents were her inspiration for beginning a new endeavor, a U-Pick flower garden, which is now open to the public. Since purchasing their farm, the Greens have grown in multiple areas and continue to expand thanks to the addition of the flower garden. Stephen not only operates their poultry houses, litter business, and forest production, but also owns a tree care business. He currently serves as the new Vice President of County Farm Bureau Board of Directors and is the Chairman of the State Farm Bureau Poultry Commodity Committee.
There's lots of different areas that we pull our passions from, whether it be from our history of our family or just our love for animals in general, and the love for being outdoors. I know many days when I'm working with the tree crew or filling a spot or doing something, I'm on the job for the majority of the day. And then when I come back here, usually in the evening, so the sun's usually setting, it's almost like a vacation when we come back to the farm. Even though it's hard work, it's also it's totally different than the commercial world, because you're in God's creation with animals and not a lot of traffic and people and different things like that. So this is my heart, mine and my wife's heart and soul here. It's just our love for the outdoors.
Tara, meantime, is an advocate on social media for farm life in general, and for Purdue Chicken, where she provides an inside look at their operation. Additionally, she manages not one but 2 cow herds, including the one belonging to Stephen's parents. According to the Greens, Farm Bureau has helped open doors and is responsible for many new friendships, adding, "We have learned so much through Farm Bureau and look forward to the years ahead serving."
Young farmers do need to be involved in Farm Bureau, not just the older generation. We are the future farmers, and you know, somebody's got to step up, and we all need to do our part. So I think that leadership is a big one as well, and community to me is super important in what Young Farmers has brought to the table. And it's always good for us to give back to them as well and do what we can.
Congratulations to Young Farmers and Ranchers Achievement Award winners Stephen and Tara Green.
All right, welcome back to the Farm Monitor as we continue to recap some of the highlights of the 84th Georgia Farm Bureau Convention from Jekyll Island. A new addition this year, the Celebrating Ag Leaders program, more or less a combination of programs. During this time, former state women's committee members were recognized, along with current committee members. In a heartfelt farewell, outgoing Women's Committee Chair Heather Cabe thanked Farm Bureau members for their love and support over the past 2 years. She also introduced the incoming chairwoman, Melissa Mathis of Monroe County. Also saying their goodbyes, Will and Chelsea Godowns, who successfully completed a 2-year term as chairs of the Georgia Farm Bureau Young Farmers and Ranchers Committee. They also welcomed new committee chair Walt Pridgeon of Coffee County.
This part of the convention was also when Georgia Farm Bureau recognized the teacher who takes it upon themselves to go the extra mile by incorporating agriculture into their daily and weekly lesson plan. Its official name, the Georgia Excellence in Teaching Ag Educator Award. This year's recipient, Natalie Murray, a K-5 music teacher at Mirror Lake Elementary in Douglas County, Villa Rica to be more specific. Natalie, you see here, presented with an honorary plaque by Georgia Farm Bureau President Tom McCall. An active member of the Douglas County Farm Bureau, this award was 7 years in the making after the whole concept of actually teaching ag struck a chord with Natalie.
There's things growing outside right now that we can eat. In fact, we're gonna plant something today. I'm gonna let you guys plant something today.
Seeing and hearing how her students have responded to learning about agriculture is music to Natalie Murray's ears. A play on words? Yes. But fitting because first and foremost, Natalie is a music teacher. She's also an accomplished piano player and a regular in the church choir. So I want to know, how does a music teacher get involved in agriculture? Because you don't have an ag background, am I correct?
I do not.
You do not. So how does a music teacher get involved in agriculture?
I like to use the word proximity. And what I mean by that is that my music room is literally right outside of, or it's inside, right outside of my music room, is a courtyard, like a grassy courtyard area. And so school council came to me a couple of years ago and said, we want to put a garden out here in the courtyard, and since your classroom is so close to it, would you be okay kind of overseeing the garden? And I was, sure. So I say proximity, and I was voluntold. So between those two things, that's kind of how our garden program got started. Not that I had any experience. I didn't have any really desire. I never really even thought about having a garden at the school. But they approached me about it, and I'm always willing for, a challenge, willing to take on a challenge and learn something new, and it's definitely been a huge learning experience.
A learning experience for not only Natalie and her students, but anyone who comes in contact with the garden. Did you catch where she mentioned that she previously had no desire to have a garden at the school? Well, that's no longer the case. Nowadays, it's one of her passions.
She has just been able to run with it and just takes everything in control, and the kids just love it. And every Friday, they love going to either music or art so they could do their Friday specials out there. But it's just been comforting that I don't really have to do a whole lot because it's already a well-oiled machine out there with her.
I would say that our garden has brought a sense of community, not only in the school with the students, but also just engaging parents, because we've had a lot of parents over the years get involved during the school year and also during the summer. But also local organizations like Master Gardeners, Farm Bureau, of course, have both been very, very important to our garden program. And then also we have a local feed and seed store that he donates plants and seeds and hay and whatever I need, soil. But between Master Gardeners and Farm Bureau, I've learned so much. They've definitely kind of come alongside and partnered with our school garden program. Many kids learn through nature, and most schools don't take their kids outside to learn. They don't have gardens, they don't have outdoor learning experiences. So I think that that's an element that's missing from a lot of schools, and I can see a difference in our students.
I think they take a pride in the garden out there, that they get to help and they get to do you know, all the things they get to do out there, and they know more about it than you know, they can share with me. They talk about it all the time. But I think they're given experiences that they don't necessarily have at home. And so the garden is something special for them because it's only here.
You really are motivated by this all. You've seen what it has done at this school. You're not just thinking this school here, you're thinking beyond. Talk about that and goals that you would like to see happen.
One of our visions, one of my visions, and one of our visions now as the Douglas County Farm Bureau is to see more agricultural programs in elementary schools. So I've started a grant program for the schools in our county, and then we also started a program called Ag in the Classroom Rockstar. So we pick a school that school year, and whichever teacher incorporates the most ag in the classroom that year will be the educational or the Ag in the Classroom Rockstar. It's really been fun to connect with different schools around Douglas County, and we've got ag programs popping up all over the place, so I'm really super excited about that.
Again, Natalie Murray, your 2021 Excellence in Ag Teacher of the Year. In addition to receiving a $500 award, Natalie earned an expense-paid trip to the National Ag in the Classroom Conference in Saratoga Springs, New York. That'll be in June. Stay with us. A look at this year's cotton harvest and the GFB YF&R Excellence in Ag Award winner when the Farm Monitor continues.
With supply chain issues facing every industry, including agriculture, businesses like the To Go Ag Group, a trucking logistics company that keeps everything running on a schedule, is more important than ever. It's a startup business that continues the family tradition for Jessica Lance.
I was born and raised on a produce farm in South Carolina, and made my way back to my family's business and trucking company. And then I met my husband now that moved me to Georgia in 2016. And I had worked in the trucking industry and knew that that's what I wanted to continue to do. So I started my own business at that time and went from there.
And 5 years later, the business is still going strong, and the reason Lance was named the 2021 GFB Young Farmer and Rancher Excellence in Agriculture Award winner, a fitting recognition for all the hard work that goes into keeping the feed industry moving.
So I am a dry bulk logistics coordinator. I operate and run small trucking companies and individual operators across the United States, primarily the Southeast and Midwest. We move agricultural commodities, landscape materials, sand, dry sprigs, feeds and grains from farmers to processors and from processors back to the farmers.
While it's not production agriculture, it's no less important to the industry as a whole, as the trucking business affects so many different commodities.
Because animals need to eat and farmers need to get their commodities to the grain processors. The grain processors take the raw grains from the farmers, they create a product of themselves, and then the byproducts that they produce are then bought and resold back to livestock producers to feed poultry, beef, cattle, dairy.
Speaking of cattle, the Lances have recently started up an operation that raises a much lesser known breed. It was a move that has been in the works for quite some time.
I was raised in production ag. My husband was raised in production ag. He was on the livestock side, so this has been a learning curve for myself. We both knew that we wanted to do production and we wanted to raise our children in production. And so we thought hard and we did a lot of research. We knew that we wanted to do cattle operations. Decided to go with Red Angus because they are not very popular in the Southeast right now.
Whether at the grain mills or out on the farm, it's a lifestyle Jessica wouldn't have any other way for both her and her family.
It's never boring. I get to raise my kids out here and getting to see them interacting with the livestock and the animals, getting them to understand where their food and fiber comes from, to me is important.
Reporting from Morgan County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Finally this week, as we wind down 2021, Georgia cotton producers are also winding down their annual harvest.
Yeah, needless to say, they have certainly endured a number of challenges. John Holcomb visited with one Floyd County producer who said he's glad to see the end in sight.
Floyd County cotton producer John Lowry, just like any other cotton producer in the state, is glad to be in the fields harvesting this year's crop, and is certainly glad to be nearing the end of this year's harvest. It's been a year full of challenges that, according to Lowry, all started back when it was time to put the seed in the ground this past spring.
Since the start of the season, since planting, we started out really wet, then got really dry, and that trend continued really throughout the season until probably late August, and we stayed wet up until mid-October. And that really hurt our yield on our cotton. The rains that we got during the growing season seemed to come in 3 to 5 inch rains at a time, and we really, considering everything, I think we got lucky, because if we hadn't got those 3 and 5 inch rains, we would have been dry for a long time. But we'd get 3 or 5 inches, then it wouldn't rain for 2 or 3 weeks, and then here would come another one. But it's been a challenge from the start.
And as for harvest, things seem to be going good now. However, thanks to a difficult and challenging growing season full of wet and dry weather, Lowry says their yields are down this year.
The harvest is going on pretty well. We've had pretty good weather the past 2 or 3 weeks. Yields are off from average, you would say. September was awfully wet, and we had a lot more boll rot than we normally do. In places, we've been reduced in yield by as much as 25%.
Thankfully, though, Lowry says that cotton is priced very good right now, which of course is good news despite the looming reality of production costs of next year's crops hanging over their heads.
Prices at this time are up as high as they've been in a really long time, up over $1 at this time, I think around $1.17. That is really good, and hopefully they'll stay that way, because inputs this coming season are going to be extremely high.
Thanks to low supply, high demand, and supply chain issues, producers' inputs have risen significantly, and in return, they're expecting their bottom lines to be greatly affected next season.
Fertilizer is up considerably. Most of our farm chemical inputs are up. Roundup, just for instance, has gone up probably $40 a gallon so far, and we've tried to buy some chemicals ahead of time for next year, and as well as some fertilizer as well. It'll affect us in 2022 as far as our bottom line goes. A lot of this cotton has already been pre-sold or marketed ahead of time, so this year we're going to be all right, but whatever we make this year, the suppliers are going to get it back next year.
Reporting in Rome for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
John, thanks so much, and thank you for watching this special edition of the Farm Monitor. Unfortunately, we are out of time.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time right here on the Farm Monitor. Have a great week.